Warning: Dallas Cowboys fandom is known to cause extreme emotional distress, anxiety, and difficulty comprehending reality. The following video contains content of an addictive nature. Consumption of this content by fans and haters alike may lead to repeated viewing. Fan responsibly.
What up, what up, what up, what up?
Hello. Happy freaking Friday.
Absolutely.
Every day that we pass by is another day close to draft day. I don't know about y'all, but I'm
That's what we
excited.
live for.
Heck yeah. If you're new here, welcome. We got a great show ahead of you guys. This is a perfect show to come check us out on. We are the Star We Are. I'm Sam and Sammy.
I am Landry's Legend.
I am Jimmy J's hair. Sammy told you we're the Star We Are. You are in the right place today because the guests don't stop coming this off season. This season, we're going to continue to have them, and we got a phenomenal one today, and he is going to give us one heck of a show, and he'll be joining us soon. So, like it's a Good Friday. How was everybody's Easter?
Yeah, I think last Friday was Good Friday, but it was still a Good
Right.
Friday.
This is
I
another
see
great
what you did
Friday,
there.
right? You usually like what I did, right? So, no, but I hope everybody's Easter was good. We're back with you guys again. Make sure you're joining us on all the things, like and subscribe, and doing all the right things. Guest is coming soon. We got a great game plan for you today.
Game plan.
And we're going to obviously kick it off just like our sport does. We got to get the ball rolling. Of course, Samantha's going to say it all. She's going to give us a little quick, short news because then we'll be bringing in our special guest that you already know, Mr. J Tuck, the draft wizard himself. And we're going to talk a little on the offensive, right? Everybody's been talking defense. So we're going to get Tuck's kind of perspective on the Cowboys offense, maybe, what's happening with George, so on and so forth, those kind of things. And then he's going to, since he's so good at it, and it's going to be funny when we bring him in here just a little bit after Sam's news, when we bring him in, it's going to be great because I'll tell the story then. I'll just wait until the story then. It's great. So we're going to have Judge Tuck. He's going to grade our draft prospects, kind of our pet prospects in this draft. We'll have halftime, and then we're going to get a quick J Tuck mock draft. That's going to be fun. I can't wait to see how that turns out. And then we'll have some updates for you after, we let J Tuck go and get up out of here. And then a quick 2-minute spiel by, I believe it's Sam's turn.
I thought I did it last time.
I know. I was trying to get out of it. I was just trying to get out of it. But without further ado, let's kick this show off, Coach.
The kickoff.
What is up, guys? So I don't want to take too much of your time. I would normally tell you to drink a bunch of Black Rifle coffee because it's a good coffee company and they make cool cans that look just like this one. And then we all know what coffee does to you. So I would tell you to get you a couple of dude wipes, and I keep a couple double XL packs around the house. They're always good. They're good for your hands, good for your face, good for other things that we won't talk about in this place. But I don't want to hold it up too much further. So let's get the show underway. That we are the Star We Are. Let's enjoy the Friday.
I'm a fan of the Star We Are.
What's up, everybody? I'm Super Cowboy.
And I'm Princess Angie, and you are tuned in.
Hi, this is Jane Slater, and you are listening to...
I'm Jess Navarez, and you're watching The Star We Are.
If you're not following them, you are not fanning responsibly.
Plugged in and switched on. This is The Star We Are, live.
Every time. I love it.
Love it. You gotta love it. So, Sammy, we're not gonna wait around. I know you got some news to give us real quick, and then we're gonna get our guests in here and have a great show. So, Sammy with the news, guys.
All right, so I feel like I'm pretty good at rambling as it is, especially during the 2 minutes still in a nonstop sentence. Probably gonna be something like that. So just bear with me and try to stay caught up. First things first, one thing that hit big news to me was that Travis Hunter, after his injury in a short rookie season, the Jaguars have decided that he is only going to be playing cornerback from now on. Sucks he doesn't get to play both positions anymore, but hopefully he gets an awesome career ahead of him where he's at. Another thing I seen that I also really love that I had to bring up, even though everybody probably knows about it, is that Fernando Mendoza is going to stay home during the draft. I do have that 16 players will be there, but he is not. He'd rather be at home in Miami with his family. His mom does have multiple sclerosis. She's had it for 18 years, and he even stated that it's hard for her to move around and kind of do a lot that they, most people would be able to do. So he'd rather be at home with the people that helped him get where he is now. A couple other people, I didn't think that number one overall pick staying at home was as common as it was, but two of the previous Jaguars overall picks, Trayvon Walker and Trevor Lawrence, both stayed home during the draft. Fun little fact there. Another crazy thing I read that was just crazy is that no Rashi Rice punishment for the alleged allegations going around. So who knows how the Chiefs will be the ones to handle that. Kenny Moore II and the Colts made an agreement to request or have trade offers. I keep seeing speculation. A lot of Cowboys fans want him. So if you're one of them, I'll keep an eye on it and see what the table brings to us. And then last thing. So I was trying to stay caught up on draft time and give you an exact, but can't do that. But we are right under 13 days, probably like 12 hours and 45 minutes now until draft day. I don't know if you guys are excited as I am, but we're here. We're almost back, baby. That's all I have for you.
Let's go. She had the hours counted down for you. Lovely.
I've been
Great news, Sam.
watching.
All right, guys. The moment y'all been waiting for. We know you're here, and we know who you're here to see.
I thought that was interesting, though. A little bit of context, though, on Fernando Mendoza, because I was wondering about that when I first heard about it. I was thinking, man, the NFL, they can't love that. I'm sure they want that number one pick to walk across the stage and hold up the jersey and get the rookie card picture and all that. But hey, good on him.
Speaking of number one picks, number 10 picks, number 45 picks, number 60 picks, the man who knows picks and the man who might know him better than most, Mr. J Tuck, y'all. And dial-up internet.
No, just 2 seconds to get me a link in here. What's up?
Bang,
Boom.
there we go.
Can you hear us now, Jay? Still no audio? Oh, no, we don't hear you either.
No, I can't hear you.
Oh, we can't hear him? All right, one second.
One
Let me take a look at what's going on.
Let's see what's going on with that.
With the fun of a Friday night, huh?
Wow.
Yeah,
Ooh.
interesting.
It's not Freaky Friday, is it?
Yeah,
I've
never had a guess. I've never had a guess that we can't hear.
He can't
hear me either.
Not yet. No, he can't hear anything.
He can't hear me either. I've never had this happen. Gosh, communication.
You want to try a new link?
I may have to, honestly. I've never had this happen, to be honest.
All right. Guess, bear with us. This is a crazy Friday. Tuck, we know you're there. I just sent you a message. I'm gonna show him. Check your messages, Tuck. I just sent you a message. We're gonna send you a new link and try a new link. I think the one we sent you is broken. So just try this new link. Yeah, come right back.
Very strange. Very
crazy.
Odd.
Come on, fingers crossed, chat. Come on, guys. What's going on? Freaky Friday don't happen to us today. We got the guest of the century on, and Friday wants to play around.
I feel like a technical difficulty at the beginning always brings for a good show, though. So I'm rolling with it.
Yeah, no doubt. I sure hope so. I can't see anything wrong in a link or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe when we did the switch, I'm not sure. I know he had went in and out. I don't know. It may have.
I'm going the wrong way.
I mean, signal and everything looked good.
Sam's over here taking us through the whirlpool.
I don't know.
I got a cheap little tripod and it is falling over because my phone is on the charger and too heavy. So there we go. I'm not going to move. Not going to touch it.
All right. I'm waiting for him to show up. I'm sure you're messaging him. Guys, bear with us for just a minute.
You send him a new link?
Yeah, sometimes it's just a crazy link because you guys are hearing me, and that hasn't been a problem. I'm going to grab this right now.
Let's bring him in and see.
There you go.
Control audio via OBS. Can you hear me?
No way. Oh, no.
Just bear with me for 1 second, and I'm going to check an audio setting. I just don't know. Microwave, compressor. Interesting.
Hey, real quick, if anybody's a dork
This
like
is
me when
microphone.
it comes to the moon,
I see your
Artemis
Is that
landed.
you? I see your Rode microphone.
So,
Oh, that's a good microphone. They
Yeah.
sell
so
those.
I wonder if this doesn't work. I wonder if we can get him on a. Can you hear us, Tuck? Give us a thumbs up or down. Do you hear us?
I think he does because he's responding, but
I heard okay, but I mean, I didn't hear okay. I read his lips saying okay. That was a way mislead. I'm so
So I
sorry.
think he might be listening on another device, hearing us, but just not hearing
I hit
himself.
reconnect mic. There was a reconnect mic button, to see if that helped him. It doesn't seem to.
Oh,
I've got nothing. I don't have any.
yeah, because I know it's not on his end where he's selecting his camera and mic. I know
No,
he
because
knows
I can
what
see
to
his
select.
microphone.
Yeah.
I see that he
Right.
selected his Rode microphone. I mean,
Does it show any audio when he's saying something?
No, I don't.
You don't see
know.
any dial tone. Okay.
Yikes.
I wonder if we put up the number for the and have him call and just to talk to him for a second. I mean, obviously we won't have him be on the phone the whole time, but just to tell him we're having some kind of crazy difficulty, see what he wants to
He's
chat
saying
Oh,
about.
he
1
said,
second.
hold on. Okay.
He's saying
And
1
then
second.
He's gonna restart his computer.
Okay.
No problem. We're gonna
Okay.
hold it down. It's fine. If we have to run through it when he gets here, that's just fine. I'm sure he can see us on another device. Yeah. What can you do? It's live and people are all over the country.
Most people are moving to Pittsburgh in 12 days.
Generally guests join and microphones work all just fine. Interesting that he can't hear or well, maybe he can hear us. I'm not sure. But I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, no joke.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, no, he understands. Listen, everybody understands technical difficulties somewhere in the invite and in the mix. Something's crossing up. It could be our end, it could be his end. We will try to figure it out. We will get it done one way or another.
Yeah, I'll create a whole new. I'll copy an entirely new link and create a whole new link while we're in the in between.
Okay, for sure.
Just in case.
Hey, that's a movie. Good reference.
In the in between.
The in between.
It's called The In Between. I'm pretty sure. It's a weird little romance movie, but you probably never heard of it. But it was just weird that. Yep. Anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm in between. Lunch and dinner, therefore I'm hangry. Also, I'm in between a great movie the other day and Moneyball and getting to watch Draft Day because Coach and I like to watch it together, and he just is, oh man, I'm dropping lights. See, because I told you I'm hangry, but he's telling us we have to hold off until the day before the draft, and do I want to watch it 5 times until then? But he
my gosh, that's how I do it too. Right, day before.
It's the only way to go. You get too hype.
No, you can watch it 4 times the week before. It's okay to do that, guys. It's okay to be a little crazy every now and then, which is what today has been. For sure, the week has been. And listen, I'll get into it a little bit just to kind of preface what we're going to talk about with Tuck as soon as we can get him in here and hopefully get it working or get him to call in at least for a second. And here's says I think he's gonna. Do we hear you now? Do you hear us? Okay, and we got you.
I hear him, but I don't see.
You're going to. Well, no, it's because he just joined. I'm going to add him up. If you guys hear him, we should be able to hear him.
Yes,
Whenever I add the link.
Okay, I think we're good, guys. So dial-up internet coming in, and no, I'm just kidding.
Echo that.
Now, how are we doing?
All right, there we go.
Beautiful.
There we go.
Beautiful.
So sorry about that.
Nothing to
No.
it. Nothing.
Don't know if it's our end or what.
You getting pulled over, brother?
No. These lights, one of these lights I got flashing, man, here in the studio. So I had to go on my laptop, man, because I'm not sure what's going on the studio computer, man. How's it going, everyone?
Hey, excellent. I'm not sure.
Good.
I'm not sure how much of that you were hearing of us. I couldn't tell, but like I was saying, I could see your microphone. Like you'd pick definitely your microphone and everything. I'm not sure what was going on.
Yeah,
I couldn't hear anything. That's why I was backstage. I was like, I can't hear anything. That's not right. So probably something on my end, man. You know,
we appreciate you, calling an audible there, shifting the O view and the mic and everything. Appreciate you doing that for us, and again, appreciate your time and your being here with us today. Tuck, listen, you can ask Coach the last few years, and then I'm just going to say this, and then I'll give you a chance to just let everybody know who's probably already here for you and knows, but let everybody know where to find you and what it is you do. But you can ask Coach before you do that. The last few years, I've been like, look, if Tuck says this is the guy, I don't care where we pick him, get him. If he says he's the guy, I don't care where we
Since
get him.
Cooper DeJean, boy.
Well, no, since way before that, that one iced the cake for me to where I was like, I don't care no more. Now, after he said that, it's like I've got to get them all because I go, well, looking back at the draft, he said all these players and where we picked, we could have had those players. And now looking at our football team, we're not as good as if we would have had those players. And so, it just all adds up. So anyway, let everybody know how it is. You are a wizard at this and where they can find you and what you do.
Yeah, man, I deeply appreciate it. The draft is something I love, right? To see these young men's dreams come true up close and personal is something I never thought I was going to experience so directly. But it's been a huge blessing. I get the honor to cover some of the best college athletes in the world. I cover the University of Kansas here locally. So that kind of gives me a jump start. But I've always loved just college football in general, just the atmosphere, the environment. So on Saturdays, man, I am, glued to my TV, watching college football. It's funny. I have my notebook down here, and I was going back to like week 0 notes of Iowa State versus Kansas State because that's what I do on Saturdays. So, just love the draft. You can follow me on all social media platforms, of course, at JTuck151. My YouTube channel is CFO Sports. We do a lot of Cowboys content, but draft content, a lot of film sessions. So if you want to learn about prospects, even if you're not a Cowboys fan, I'm probably breaking down one of your prospects. But, you mentioned Cooper DeJean, it goes back to even Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott was my entry to wizardry. I was out there in the draft in 2016, and the NFL Network was like, okay, Cowboys fans, who should we draft? Who should you guys draft? And I was like, Dak Prescott, proven leader, great Senior Bowl, loved him at Mississippi State. Like, he's a true competitor, right? Sounded crazy back then because we still had Tony Romo, but we ended up drafting Dak Prescott within the 4th round, and the rest is history. Now, I wasn't too happy about our 1st round pick that year in Ezekiel Elliott, though it turned out, but there was another guy I really wanted that draft that we passed up on, but Zeke's no consolation prize.
May I ask who that guy was?
It was Jalen Ramsey out of Florida State. Yeah.
That was my pick that year before we drafted Zeke. That's what I had my eye on. The Zeke thing did work out in the sense of 4 years. If we had only not paid him $90 million and listened to the other coach here on the screen who was saying we can't pay him that money, like he's good, but running backs, their legs go,
Exactly. And that's why I was thinking about the wear and the tear. Think about Jalen Ramsey still playing out there with Mike McCarthy and the Steelers, right? Still ticking. And you can either, when they get older, move them to safety, but it's like the value. And then, that was kind of the year with, Byron Jones. And so it was like, if he added that cornerback, it would have added a lot. And then my whole, but this is back when I could talk on Twitter in peace and no one cared. My whole draft for it was I was going to draft Jalen Ramsey in the 2nd round. The running back that I wanted was Derrick Henry. So if the Cowboys, they would have drafted Jalen Ramsey, Derrick Henry, and Dak Prescott, I think I would have probably did all right as far as a GM or a scout for Dallas Cowboys. So.
Now hearing that, Cowboys Nation, I want you to think about 2016, 17, and 18 with those 2 players, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Listen, that's there you go. The proof is in the pudding, as they say, and you just heard it right there. So look, we'll get right into the show. We're going to talk a little bit of Cowboys. Obviously, we have to before we get into your expertise. But everybody's been on defense, and we know what we got to fix. We know we still need some linebackers. We know we could use an edge guy. We would love to. I love actually what the Cowboys did at safety and DB. But I think they're still looking to add another body in that room. But with all the things we kind of know on defense, the uncertainties on offense, George Pickens on a tag, left and right tackle. I follow your posts, so I know you. I've seen you post not too long ago. But who's playing tackle? Not that the guys we don't have aren't good, but are they it? Are they the championship run guys? Right? And so that's what we want to talk about a little bit. All the offensive things. Do you think the run game improves, disproves? Just kind of give us the J-Tuck mind frame around the Cowboys offense and where it stands in this draft coming up, and
Yeah. Of course, I think our offense pretty much carried our season last year for the most part. But, I made a video today, and I don't want Cowboys fans to be blinded by fool's gold. And what do I mean by that, right? We all remember the day. I remember where I was when I got the phone call that we just traded for George Pickens. We were all ecstatic, we were jumping. And it was fun to watch. Sammy probably tell you better than anyone, those games versus the Chiefs, that game versus Philly, I was on top of the world. It felt like it. But
you said his name, and she's backstage like this.
She knows.
So
yeah.
She thinks she knows what's coming, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, but it just felt on top of the world, right? But then someone asked me, like, Tuck, what is everyone so happy about? Like, kind of the Kobe Bryant mindset. I was like, damn, we did lose to the Cardinals. Damn, we did lose to the Broncos. I mean, we did get clipped by the Vikings. We did get clipped by the Chargers and Detroit. So anytime our offense went against a defensive coordinator with some cachet, we wasn't the offense that we thought that we was, right? So it's something to be cautious about, because I think Cowboys fans has this mindset, hey, just make the defense average. With our offense, we can't be stopped. And I do not think that's the case. Typically, second year, especially at the first year coordinators, it settles a little bit. Now, when it comes to the main conversation piece, George Pickens, me personally at this point, if you're not going to move on from him pre-draft, then I'm signing him, right? I think that's just where I'm at.
That's what Sam's waiting on.
I'm signing George Pickens, right?
Okay. What's the number?
I'm paying him whatever, to be honest with you. So
even if it's the 40, I mean, it's not going to be over 40, probably 38 to 40. But
yeah, if I have to go, because I know a lot of Cowboys fans, they're paying thresholds above CeeDee Lamb. If I have to give him 38, I have to give him 38. And the reason why, guys, is that we move money around. We don't have any major signings besides our other offensive weapon with Brandon Aubrey, right? But outside of that, our main core of guys is signed. So if you're not trading to go acquire a Max Crosby because the Ravens blew that whole ordeal up, right? You have to pay George Pickens. Now, my thing is, if I am encouraging the Dallas Cowboys to do right this time, I am picking up the phone and I'm calling Dave, his agent, not talking to Pickens. I'm calling the actual agent. Yes, Jerry, talking to the agent and saying, okay, what is it going to take? And if he says, you know what, we're going for top of the market, if there's any indication that, as fun as it was, I'm not going to pay George Pickens what they're asking for, then that's when I'm getting on the phone and I'm trying to get draft capital for 2 weeks, right? Because people have to understand it's a different situation this year with GP, right? He's not like Micah Parsons. He's technically a free agent because he hasn't signed the tender like Kyle Pitts has. So if he doesn't sign the tender, he doesn't have to come to voluntary. He doesn't have to come to mandatory. He doesn't have to show up in preseason. He doesn't have to show up at camp. He just has to pop out week one and say, okay, I have to play because I'm contracted to do so. That does not put the Cowboys in a winning situation. So I would like to get a jump on this deal to figure out where's it headed. And if Steven and Jerry feels like we can't do that, I wouldn't do it, because I feel like trying to pay or make George Pickens play on the tag, it's a major gamble, right? Of course, he was a model citizen last year, but the honeymoon phase could possibly be over. I just don't want to risk that. So that's where I would be when it comes to GP offensively, because I think he does give us our best opportunity to win a championship this year, right? If I want to win this year, which I want to, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying?
I'm right with you.
You got Jimmy and Landry on the call. We haven't won anything, coach, since you guys been coaching, right? I want to win this year, and having George Pickens sign healthy, happy, and hungry gives us the best opportunity to do so, while Christian Park and this young defense starts to find their footing. So that's why me personally, 38, 39, bro, just have it. Just have it, right? That's where I'm at with it.
I 100% agree with him, giving us the best chance to win this year. Like I said, the exciting, flashy plays. We've been watching a lot of, had watched Moneyball recently, and it's got me in this mindset of, man, George Pickens. I love it. I have nothing against it. I want to see 3 every weekend, but I don't know that he's got to be on my team. The money, 100. You're talking about $130 million to 3 players on offense. There are teams that aren't paying their offense that much money. How can that? I realize that you're saying, I totally realize what you're saying is you keep this offensive core together. We were going to be hard to beat. We were hard to beat last year, unless we didn't score 30, because our defense was going to give up 28. But that's not the defense you're supposed to put on the field. You're not supposed to expect to score 30 and possibly lose. You should be able to score 24 and win. So I just, is there enough money to put a defense together?
There is now, right? Now, this would have been a different conversation for me personally if we had to, pay that guy at number 11 behind you this year, and it's between paying Pickens or paying Micah. Micah would have been the priority, right? We have to take care of the defense. But if you're not going to go get a Max Crosby, right? I know the Myles Garrett thing sounds like a fun fantasy. Where's that money going to be allocated towards on the defense? I just don't see a guy that, hey, we can make a blockbuster trade, bring him in, and we have to pay him top NFL salary. No team is coming off that guy. So that's why, for me personally, I'm just paying GP, and then hopefully I hit my home run as my game changers defensively in the draft.
If you do it in the draft, it'll work. It's a path.
Yeah.
It's a path. Here's where I was at. Just real quick, I'll let Jimmy get in here. The idea that we just paid a 3rd-round pick for him. We just set the new bar for the Dallas Cowboys in terms of what you trade a draft pick for. A 3rd-round draft pick that, I don't know how much he exceeded the expectations by. I mean, it was beyond. I expected his best season, but he did that by 30%. He's out there jumping over people, and he's, he
gave you 1st-round
production. He became one of the most favored players on the team in a matter of 8 or 9 weeks, especially when he did what he did while CeeDee Lamb went down. He was like, "Oh yeah, don't you worry. I'm him." You know what I mean? And I'll do it to you. He's yelling at people. You know what I mean? I mean, it was absolutely spectacular. Okay, here's Sam coming back. I was taking a look at that. But the 3rd-round pick for him is what we gave up. And all of a sudden, Jalen Waddle gets traded for a 1st and a 3rd. Coach has been saying, and I'm agreeing with him, is that not what George Pickens is worth now? He's younger and better than Jalen Waddle.
Right.
Is this true? So it feels like to me we could trade him and basically profit a cheap $8 million we paid him, a bunch of production. He made Jerry a bunch of money last year. He didn't win anything big for him. But then you can flip him for essentially a 1st-round draft pick. It feels like or at least a 2nd, you could profit from him.
And that's why I'm getting on the phone right now, because if I'm going to get a 1st and 3rd, I want that 1st and 3rd this year. Now, it's credible.
That's important. That's important.
Draft is going to be phenomenal, right? I don't want to run that risk.
Right.
So that's why I am checking and making calls now just to double check, right? Because I do want to make that move, because I feel like if we get to May and we don't trade George Pickens, for me, it's just sign up, give him the money because you didn't handle it. Where you could move on from him, get a 1st, maybe you get a McKylen or Carl Tate or Jordan Tyson, right, to kind of fill the void. Because I'm gonna be honest, with my quarterback, hell, I could play wide receiver, and I'm probably gonna get about 600, 700.
Can we do Ted Hurst in the 4th round, or is that too small of a school?
We'll talk about it.
Get there.
I love him. I've been talking about him nonstop with Cowboys fans that want to listen. But there are guys out there that I feel like you could bring in to fill that void. But you got to start now, Jerry. I don't want this thing to drag out, because it can't drag out. If nothing is done by July 15th, that's the deadline. You're on the cap. You can't be traded.
Right.
And that's when the fake back injuries and hamstrings and laying on the table really begins. And I feel like you owe Brian Schottenheimer a drama-free offseason. Last year was just a lot, especially for a first-year coach. It needs to be quiet. It needs to be clean. So get this Pickens deal done or move on.
And you know what? And because what you just said wraps it up, kind of why I'm on the fence that I'm on, because I know that we don't usually just get deals done. Or at least it feels like that. And because I'm scared of the drag it out, I've got to look at this draft coming up. And there's only 13 days left. And I've like you said, I'm on the phone already asking the Jets if 33 and 103 sounds fair. If the Patriots want to match what the Broncos did and go 31-95, something like that, in a little swap later on in the draft. Even if Miami would like a star to sell some jerseys next year and wants to get George and pay him and give us Jordan Brooks and a pick along with it, I've got to look at those things. And here's where I'm really, if I'm Jerry,
not quite Rev Kramer, GP to Arizona for a 3rd and Marvin Harrison. I don't think so. Not quite.
Marvin Harrison. Well, no, see, so that's the route. I was just going to talk about the replacement thing. If we're going to get rid of him, obviously, I don't want to expect Ryan Flanoy to come in and replace 70 to 80% of the production GP gave us. So what I've got to ask of this draft is, if I haven't made the move or a deal before the draft, I've got to have this draft fall to where there's like, man, 2 tackles we don't really want, and kind of Dylan Tieneman, but Carnell Tate fell down here. Now all of a sudden, if George Pickens is what, because I believe Carnell Tate comes in and gives you exactly what Emeka Egbuka gave to Tampa Bay, and if that's the case, then all of a sudden I've got to take a call for George right then and there. I have to, if Carnell Tate's on the board, I have to trade him in my mind, because I know that if we haven't paid him by then, it's just, we ain't going to pay him until getting close to the season. And like you said, do not want that. So I've always been on the fence of got to move him.
Their motto, deadline makes deals, scares me a little bit.
There you go.
But I will say this, and I made a video about this, yesterday or 2 days ago. I can't remember, right? But I'm very optimistic this deal is going to get done. I don't feel uneasy like I felt last year for some reason, because I know, just like we were watching the game on Thanksgiving Day, we've seen Jerry loves his offense, right? Jerry loves his offense. And as long as George Pickens just stays quiet, no tweets, no interviews, no nothing, just put his head low and just wait on things, I do think it's going to happen. And here's another reason why I do think it's going to happen, because of our quarterback, Dakota Rain Prescott, never speaks on business. The fact that he's been vocally speaking about this and George Pickens and moving money around and what to talk to Jerry, I think they realize, okay, all right, let's just get this done, right? But why are we waiting? In my whole conversation piece, I was telling people, why I do think he's going to go for around 37, 38, because if it's $30 million he's going for, that can get done today, right? Fax that over. Let's sign it, we'll deliver. Let's move on, right? Because that's what, $2 million more than he's already going towards the cap, and plus he would thin that money out. So I do think
it clears up cap if you get it done.
It clears up cap.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it clears up cap, right? So you can make some move post draft, right? When people start dumping, players because of their draft class. So, it's proactive thinking. You would think, the Cowboys would get it by now, but we know this franchise and we'll just sit back and wait and see. But I'm probably 95% sure George Pickens will get a deal done. That's where I'm at as of now.
Sam, that's so crazy you gave that percentage, because I was just fixing to ask Sam, how confident are you Jerry does what I know where you sit on this one, Sam. You want George signed. How confident are you that Jerry gets it done?
God, I don't know. Your guys' whole talk about like the trade options, everything, like I just went through a whirlwind of emotions. Kind of feel sick to my stomach right now. I mean, because everything sounds reasonable, everything sounds right, but of course I'm team keep him, and I'm kind of. He has made it, he has said it, Steven has said it, everybody has said they want them on there. Jerry, I know he's Jerry, but he has assured us it's going to get done. I don't always trust him, but I'm kind of with J Tuck on this. I'm optimistic. I really hope it's going to happen. If I were to give my confidence on a scale of 1 to 10, though, I'm probably at a 4. Just because I have no, I know I don't know about, but why? No, why? Why have we waited so long? What are we waiting for?
Why ever even tag him? You can sign him in February if you want to.
You're right. Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
If you're going to sign him, you can sign him on any day. I feel like we wanted to stake some sort of claim and keep him in mind that we're interested by making sure he knows he's claimed by us, but I don't have a deal perspective of that.
Really quickly before we end up in an hour and a half show with J-Tech, because we can talk so much with him. Outside of George Pickens, right? What's the position? Right tackle. I would like to upgrade right tackle on other than on offense anywhere else. Even
I would say a left or right tackle, right?
Or right side. Can Tyler Guyton go to right? He played right in college. Is he going to be better at right than he is at left instantly?
Well, now we're in a situation, right? He's played more snaps at left tackle
than he ever did at right, because he never played a bunch of football.
He was a tight end. He was a tight end at TCU, so
and didn't play football in high school.
Right. So he's green on both sides. And so my thing with Tyler Guyton, right? He has showed incremental, steps forward in the right direction, but you've had injuries, right? You had injuries 2 years back to back, right? It was a soft bitching, I would say, because we never really got the answer. Why did Tyler Smith get shot out to left tackle? And then Brian Schottenheimer says, hey, when Tyler Guyton gets back, we want him back, but he's going to be our swing. So that sounds like you lost your job to me, so if now you had, conversations with Brian Schottenheimer. It's like, he has to work through, he has to walk through the door, but we're excited about he has elite traits. So we haven't got any confirmation that we could trust Tyler Guyton for 17 games at this point, right? So for me, the next question I've been asking Cowboys fans, what's the insurance policy, right? If something happens, whether it's a back, hamstring, whatever, what do we do? And I know this conversation about Nate Thomas, but Nate Thomas didn't look too well when he got kicked out there at left tackle. So, I know they talked to Tyler Smith about it, and Tyler Smith gave the I'm just the guard, quote unquote, you're paying me to be a guard. I'm not going to be a left tackle. Different price
Right,
brackets.
because we just did his contract, yeah.
Right. Now that could be where some of that money could go, right? But so for me, I feel like the tackles are a main question mark. And like you guys said, if we're gonna have this billion-dollar offense, what we hopefully have once we sign George Pickens, don't you want to put some protection with your quarterback? Because I don't care if you get Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Ruben Bain, Aaron Donald. If Dakota Rain Prescott goes down, season's over. Right. So protect your main asset. And I feel like right now, left tackle, and Terrence Steele, he'll be serviceable, but serviceable is not championship contender.
Serviceable is not championship. Is the draft deep in tackles? I feel like it is. I feel like a Markel Bill in the 3rd or 4th round is a tackle, a good tackle.
Yeah, I mean it's deep. The question though is like, what's their timeline for like a Markel Bill, right? So if you're talking about guys that are instant impact, slam dunk, there's not a lot of guys you can close your eyes, right? I know people are talking about Monroe. We're going to draft stuff, right? Monroe Freeland out of Georgia, right? He has a lot of work to do, but all the athletic traits that you want. You even talk about Spencer Fano and Francis Muajia out of Miami. Those are right tackle guys, right? One is more of your your athletic, sleeker ballerina that can dance with speed but can't handle power. One is full power that can't handle speed. So there's work in progress. And then you have Max Iron Anchor out of Arizona State. Who showed a lot of promise at the Senior Bowl, that toughness, that rough, that Shotty is really kind of in one kind of that Tyler Booker-esque mode, but he's very raw in the mold of clay too. So for me personally, I know Cowboys fans are freaking out. Would I draft a tackle? Yeah, if the opportunity presents itself. But for me, I would like to go get a veteran guy to shore up that left side or right side that I can lean on. Because think about this. When we drafted Tyler Smith, we had big Tyron Smith as an insurance policy. And we also had Jason Peters. So he can kind of work at his own progression. Now, of course, the injuries prevailed and he kind of got tossed out there and he did well. But it wasn't Tyler Smith or bust. I feel like right now where we currently stand, we are Tyler Guyton or bust. And for me, that doesn't
feel right.
Yeah,
and this draft for me, the only 3 tackles, and then we'll go ahead and switch topics, like I said, because boy, we could do this for a while.
13 days.
13 days away. But the only 3 tackles to me that are going to come in and give you any kind of quality, like, look at the quality of where Tyler Guyton is at right now. The only 3 tackles that I have a chance at coming in and giving you even anything close to that right away is going to be Caden Proctor, Francis, and probably Caleb Lemieux. Maybe, and that's kind of, he's right there on the fence of being that. I think Francis and Caden are ready. How good they would be, I don't know, but so yeah, to me it's deep in, like you said, it's deep in tackle, but it's deep in tackles that honestly probably need a year. And if you're trying to win now, then that's just not not moving the needle. So speaking of prospects, speaking of picks, we got to bring the judge into the room, into the courtroom here. Give us some grade on some of these guys. We're going to let, obviously, ladies go first because we're all gentlemen here. And so Sam has a draft prospect that is kind of her pet. She's really interested in and wants to know more about, and we know you're the guy to ask. So, Sam, who's your guy here?
I feel like if you guys have watched the show before and don't have an idea, you're crazy. Bryce Lance.
Oh.
So this came out of nowhere too when she said this the other day, is in terms of setting this all up. I was like, well, Bryce Lance, it's not even on my radar as like, because I'm not thinking about the Cowboys drafting a receiver, but obviously she loves Trey Lance. I can't wait to hear it.
So I wanted to tell this story earlier in the show. So I right, we got, me and Jay are lining it up. I'm telling him, okay, hey, we'll send you the details, send you the link, so on and so forth. And we're talking about setting the show up. And I asked because I thought, you know what, he might not even want to know who we're gonna say. So I literally DM'd him and I said, "Hey, you want the prospects' names up front, or would you rather wait?" He says, "No, I'm gonna do it live."
Yeah.
So everybody out there, he doesn't even know the guys that we're gonna say, but I'm sure he still has some stuff on him. So
Yeah,
wanted to get that out there.
so like this is fun, right? So Sammy, right, talking about prospects that people aren't talking about, because I've been saying this. I feel like the biggest mistake that Cowboys fans have made this draft season is completely turning a blind eye to the offensive side of the ball, right? You know, you talk about wide receivers like a Bryce Lance, who's related to Trey Lance's brother, but very sleek wide receiver. He has all the intangibles. You know, I did a Buffalo Bills show because they're kind of in the wide receiver possible market. I think Bryce Lance has great upside value. High performer. He played at big moments. He's not your essential burner. He's more of your tweener, but he has small nuances in his routes to create separation. So he's one of those guys. He reminds me of Green Bay Packers Christian Watson, right? That kind of has those traits, right? Not really a burner. Christian Watson, he has some injuries, right? But he can just get open and just make big plays. So I definitely like Bryce Lance. Would I do it for the Cowboys? I mean, it depends on the opportunity presenting itself in with certain rounds, but I think he's going to be a talented guy that if the right team gets their hands on him, they're definitely going to love him. He's a workhorse, you know, all the traits that you want in a wide receiver. He's just not super sexy as far as like speed or, you know, vertical jump,
Right.
but he has some size and he has athleticism and he has a knack of getting open. So I like Bryce Lance. Great
Nice.
picks.
So I had to take
it was, Sam.
a quick break there, and I had to step away, and I didn't get a chance to preface for him. Tuck, maybe you can see over there on the side, I've got skill set, physicality, and football IQ as 3 things to put a grade on: A+, A-. I've got it all, you know, whatever you want to go.
From A,
if
from
you can
A
do that.
to F, from
Okay,
A plus
so
to F minus, yeah.
So I would say IQ would be an A for me. IQ stands out. Physicality, he's not super physical, so he's not like an AJ Brown, but he does have, you know, some toughness. So I'll probably put a B on it. And then skill set, I would give him an A as well when it comes to the skill set because he's a roundabout wide receiver. I feel like he can play on the boundary, but he can also play on the field side. He can also move him around the slot if need be. So he has those CeeDee Lamb-esque kind of traits as well.
All right, and then
And
the
you
number.
said B on physicality?
Oh, I've got a B
So
minus up there.
what's that number? So B for physicality.
Okay, well, not listen for a receiver that you like to see that the physicality, like you said, it kind of lacks. I like that the skill set is high. That's how he gets open. Also, when you pair that with some smarts, that's how you can find yourself in the right position. To
Okay, a
and
quick
so, bonus, go ahead.
Yeah, a quick number on the board. The right spot to draft him. Just estimated.
I would probably put a 5th round grade on him.
5th round grade on him.
Ooh, okay.
Blowing PFF out of the water. They don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Where's PFF
now?
Oh, 62 and they've got him?
70? Or is it 60 something?
All right. So we'll go with mine. So this is not necessarily my absolute favorite, just one of a guy I've got my eye on who I feel like is intriguing. And it's going to really boil down to where at the end where you end up. I think you're going to say he's a good player, but so safeties aren't common in the first round. Caleb Downs is the surefire. Good Lord, it sounds like he's the best safety since Ed Reed, from what I can hear. And then this Dylan Tiedemann runs like a deer. He had a combine. Let me tell you, he looked good at the combine. I don't know what that looks like in pads. And this is a third safety who, we'll see what you have to say, may or may not have a first round grade on him. Is this in the Cowboys' wheelhouse? If Downs doesn't fall, we'll see what you say.
Well, I think I separate from a lot of people in the pack. He is my safety 2 for me personally over Dylan Tiedemann.
Love it.
I love what Emmanuel McNeil Warren really brings, man. I got snowed in, so I couldn't get to the Senior Bowl, but I really wanted to see this kid up close and personal. But he has it, right? And he's going to be more of your guy that's going to play in your box. But physicality, I'll give you a grade A+++++, right?
Wow.
He's not afraid to mix it up. The tackles for losses, like he's just one of those guys that makes things happen. And when you see kind of like what the Seahawks had last year and different these like these big nickel safeties, he definitely really embodies everything that you want in that. And he's good in coverage,
Okay.
right? Now, is he a guy that you probably rotate and have him as your single high safety? Probably not. That would be more Dylan Thieneman. But if you're in a 2 high set, right, with 2 safeties, he can play your robber, rotate down, drop down the hole, do all those things. He has the size, he has the intangibles. I love Emmanuel McMillan-Warren, and honestly, I think Cowboys do too as well.
Yeah. I think when you brought in Jalen Thompson with what he can do, if somehow you added McNeil Warren to it as your deep, kind of like you said, he can Swiss Army knife for you. But if you just really asked him to play the deep part of the field type deal and really let Jalen Thompson get some more nickel work, I think for what Christian Parker wants to do, it would be a blast. But
Right.
who knows if we get him? So what would his IQ and skill set grades be for
For
you?
IQ, I would probably give him an A.
Okay.
And then skill set, I would give him an A as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right, so and you said safety 2 for you, and it's funny, right? Because teams just don't value the safety position as kind of not that it's undervalued, it's just valued, lower. But when you have that guy for the right defense and the right defensive scheme, if you have what Caleb Downs did for Ohio State, if you add that to an NFL team, it changes the world. It can have a similar, and not necessarily a Micah effect, because getting after the quarterback is numero uno for defenses, but it can have the same type of effect overarching on the entire.
Well, you have to think back to what was it? When was the year was it 2022 when we beat Tampa in the playoffs? 2021, 2022, right?
Yeah.
So what did we have that really went under the radar, and it kind of changed quickly? But when we had Jaron Kearse, who was a tight end eraser, that changed a lot of things, right? It was short-lived, right? But when we had it, it was nice to have, and especially with the way that this new modern day tight ends are. I mean, they're pretty much wide receivers.
They're all wide receivers, yeah.
Right? So if you have a guy that can match up size for size, body to body with them, but also rotate in and out, play up top, strong tackling, come down and run support.
Yeah,
they're probably one of the most important pieces of your defense because they're asked to do so much at the NFL level.
I see 2 A's and an A+. That sounds like, yes, you've got a first round grade on him. Let's hear the number ish.
Yeah.
So you're in the go.
Yeah, I would take him in the first round.
Anywhere, okay.
Not anywhere. I wouldn't do it.
No, obviously not anywhere. My question was going to be, would you do it at 20? Yes, you're going to say
20. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's good for me.
And I would not be shocked if that's the pick at 20.
Okay.
I love it. Okay, so and it's funny you say that about Jaron Kearse, because I used to post about him. He was one of my guys, and I used to put Terminator, but capitalize the T and the E, because he, like you said, just take tight ends out of game.
Yeah,
and so So I'm going to give you my guy, Tuck, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a good grade on him, and I know what I'm worried about maybe being on the lower end, so we'll see where you sit. It's to me the most important position of need, and in the 3-4, because I talked about it on a show. We do 2-a-days with Jimmy J sometimes, and I said, listen, if Christian Parker wants to do this 3-4 scheme with a green dot, let's not. Because he said, I would be willing to shift, and I would be willing to, do these things and this. Let's not make him willing to come out of what he would love to do. Right. So this middle linebacker position, to me, may be the most important thing that we have to give right to really give Christian the best shot here. It's because, like I said, I already really like what we did in the DB room. Kobe Durant, Jalen Thompson, those things. CJ Allen. Some say he's not worth 12. There's some that say he's not even worth 20. To me, if he's he went from he had the nickname around his locker room, and some coaches, they were calling him DC instead of CJ, because he's out there like reading the game and shifting things, like he's very, very smart. He's kind of a walking playbook. If that translates, I really need him. So give me the scoop here.
All right. So this is a fun one. CJ Allen. So when you mentioned green dot, middle linebacker, IQ A++, so you can go ahead and
that's what I was waiting on. Making sure that's correct.
That is CJ Allen. He is the chain of command. I mean, even as defensive coordinator, they say, pretty much they would just let him line everyone up and run the defense. So, from that standpoint, from a middle linebacker green dot, he brings tremendous value. I think him and also another linebacker prospect in Jacob Rodriguez would probably be my 2 prospects. That is that guy. Where I get concerned personally is great in run support. He can come downhill. He has the big physical traits. Though he had the knee injury, he bounced back perfectly fine. Where I get concerned about CJ Allen is from the athleticism standpoint, right?
Yeah.
We kind of seen it, right? We had Jack Sanborn last year, who I think, he's an IQ guy. He was supposed to have been the translator for, it was his defense, but he doesn't have the athletic traits to get there. He couldn't run. He couldn't move. He couldn't go sideline to sideline. My biggest concern with CJ Allen, for me personally, that I had to downgrade him, honestly, is because he hid the athleticism traits throughout the entire process, right? He didn't run the 40 at the combine, didn't do it at the pro day, right? So what were you hiding? And typically when players say, you know what, this is the mega show, right? We all know that 40 can get you paid. So in some cases, you can go from the 4th round to the 1st round, depending on that 40. The fact that you decided to sit out, that means constantly while you were training, that were clocking, your agent had a conscious decision to be like, nah, we can't do it, right?
Yeah,
so they were hiding that.
Can't show him this 4.6 40.
Yeah. If it would have came out 4.6 or 4.7 or 4.8, he would have plummeted. So they say, we're going to avoid it. So that's a concern for me. But if you're looking for a guy that you can just draft, say, you're my middle linebacker. Hey, I'm Christian Parker. You're going to be my chain of command, my quarterback. It's CJ Allen, but I just question him from an athletic perspective. And I think this is where I differ from some Cowboys fans because Jacob Rodriguez is in that same category. When I'm thinking about defense, guys, right, I know we can get good players. There's tons of good players in this draft, but I want momentum changes, right? We talked about moving on from George Pickens. Yeah, you can get Carnell Tate. Yeah, you can get Jordan Tyson, but it's something electric when it comes to Pickens. There's an energy when it comes to George Pickens.
I'll win the damn game right now. Give me the ball.
Right. So when I'm looking on the defensive for prospects, I'm looking for those defensively, right? Those game wreckers, those havoc guys, those electric charge or spark. And that's why I lean towards more like the Anthony Hill Jr.'s. I'm leaning towards the Reuben Bangs, the Cassius Howell guys, the David Baileys that can go out there and bring an attitude, disruptiveness, and just wreck stuff, right? So CJ Allen, great prospect. I think he's going to do well. But I want something that's a little bit more turned up athleticism wise for me personally.
Okay,
but
so
I do understand
that means quickly physicality is going to be a lower score. What are you saying there?
Physicality is going to probably be a B-.
Yeah. And that's the one. And listen, I figured I was on the right track. That's where I was a little worried about it.
Yeah.
But
and then skill set, I'll say a B for CJ Allen.
Okay. Yeah, because he doesn't possess. He's obviously not going to try to come out and be I'm going to go cover tight end on crossing routes and stuff. He's not trying. He's not trying to come give you that. But I think with like I said, what we did in the DB room, kind of how we're building our defensive line and the way I can foresee it looking. I think CJ Allen can be a very valuable piece. And if you can upgrade Kenneth Murray. Please, that can't be too much to ask. Get that done.
And guys, I promise you, if this happens where we pass on linebacker in the draft and they bring back Kenneth Murray, I'm going to lose.
Lose my mind.
I didn't even think that was a possibility.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, Shotty spoke very highly about K9. Like, stop calling him K9.
Too many linebackers. It sounds like, but go ahead and put your number on it. Sounds like CJ's just out of the top. The first round for you.
Yeah, I have a second round grade on CJ.
Second round grade on CJ.
30s or 40s? Is he going outside the 40s or about where?
Outside the 40s.
And this means
so in the 50s or 60s.
This means you won't take CJ Allen at 20. You will take Ant Hill.
Ant Hill Jr.
I would take Anthony Hill or Jacob Rodriguez at 20.
At 20, I thought. Boy, there was a time I could never imagine. I thought Jacob Rodriguez before I saw any kind of boards like. Before the season was over, December, I'm like, Jacob Rodriguez has got to be like a second round, linebacker or something like that. And it seemed like that's about where he started, and he kind of fluctuated. But first round.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm saying that for, pretty much both those prospects is because we don't have a second
for
round
us.
pick.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
I'm viewing 20 as pretty much a second round pick because honestly, I think we should trade that back and get more draft capital. So that's the reason why. But, I wouldn't take them at 12, but Jacob Rodriguez, he's one of those guys who's kind of just done it. He has a little bit more athleticism than CJ, but Anthony Hill Jr. for me is my personal favorite. And I know a lot of people say it because I played football with his father. His father's my college teammate, right? But it's because of the havoc he caused, right? He can get you 8 sacks. He can get you 100 tackles.
2 forced fumbles in the same game.
2 forced fumbles in the same game and an interception. So it's like, that's what I kind of want.
He dumps.
Maybe it's me trying to find, a new girlfriend. Looks like my ex-girlfriend, right? But I kind of miss that feeling of that guy back there that can just cause havoc. So that's what I'm in search for.
Plus the underlying idea of 2 Texas boys running in the middle.
Yeah, him and Overshown, a healthy Overshown. I mean, your defense and your linebacker core is ramped up. And I think about that just brief little stint, guys. Right at 2017 when we had, LVE and healthy Jalen Smith, like that brief little stint where our linebacker was just flying around, hitting everything in sight. It was fun. That lasted for a year and a half. But man, oh man, to have that back with a run C hit linebacker room, yeah, I really want that because linebacker is my position. That's where I played, so I gotta get that. So.
And it's going to be important for the 3-4 defense and what I think what we're trying to do. So definitely. So before we get, we're gonna get a little halftime in and let you do a mock draft. But before we move there, let me if there's a guy, or let me just ask it this way: is there anybody? Because we've heard all the speculations about Dallas trading up. Is there anybody worth trading up for from 3 to 6? Right, and if so, who?
I mean, 3 to 6 is still kind of rich, but if there's anybody I'm trading up for, is Caleb Downs. That's it.
Caleb Downs, okay.
Good news, because what I've seen recently is more of him coming nearer to 12 than going up towards 3 or 4 like it was a few weeks ago. Yep. So
right. I mean, I hope the positional value tag in Bug hits him. I can hope and pray. Yeah. But I just feel like, for me personally, I just think FOMO will kick in where he's just so good. A team will be afraid to kind of just last one. Kind of happened with Kyle Pitts. The Falcons didn't need Kyle Pitts. They still don't even know how to use him, right? But it's just like there's so much around him. I just gotta get him, right? So that's my thing with Caleb Downs. But man, if he falls to us at 12 or if he gets around 9 range, I'm going to get him and living happily ever after.
No, that's fair, and I think we got a little dog background that maybe some technical difficulties, but I'll chat with you through this. So I may shock you as far as being willing to move up, and you guys will just have to forgive us on the dogs. I'm sure they're going to get handled in just a second. The only guy for me, like you said, that havoc, that game changer. If I'm moving up at all, don't even give me no arm length mess. Ruben Bain Jr. is about because he's the pass rusher. If you want a guy that's going to give you, Rashawn Gary's kind of the bull rush. I'm going to put my hands in your chest. I'm going to fight you to the quarterback. Donovan Ezeraku needs to take a leap, and he's the kind of, if you can get the line to leave me alone with the tackle, I can put my full bag on him, and I'll win a few times. He had the most pressures for us last season.
Right.
The Ruben Bain is the guy that just says, don't let your quarterback hold the ball for more than 2.7 seconds.
I'll get there.
I was going to be there.
I was going to wait till the very end. I was going to bring that up just right before we let you go. I wasn't even on it like that. All I had heard was short arms. When the video came out of the bend on the drill, like the way and especially when it came out like versus Arvell Reese, I hadn't seen too much like that. Like that's, I don't know. Is that an average thing? It looked like he was taking a step around the bag.
So the thing that's so attractive, when I did the film study on Ruben Bain that's on the channel, right? There's so much detail that he has in his pass rushing ability. Like he pass rushes with a plan. And I know a lot of people talk about the arm length, but it doesn't really
matter if you don't get your hands on him. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter, right? Because it's about timing, right? So like, Tyler Guyton, for instance, right? Sometimes when Tyler kicks out of his stance, his hands are down, right? He doesn't have his hands up in a fighting stance. So even if I have short arms, I can still get into your chest, right? So the arm length only comes into play typically when bull rush, because they always say whoever controls the chest wins. But if I get to the chest first, I'm going to be okay. And I always tell people about the arm lifting. There was a guy in the draft, the Mozzie draft that was here in Kansas City. Arm length like a damn pterodactyl that everybody loved. And the Raiders said, I have to get him. and I have to get him. That was Tyreek Wilson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember Tyreek Wilson that went to the Raiders? His arm length was so attractive. They just had to get him, but he couldn't play football, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for pure football players. And when you look at Ruben Bain, everything since the moment this kid put a helmet on, it's just been outstanding, man. So Ruben Bain is phenomenal. I'm hearing some conversation like, oh, he's going to be a 3-tech at the NFL. No, he's a football player. Put him
He's
at
a football player. Mike Tag's loving it. He wants to add all the Hurricanes we can.
Never mind. Take all that back. I know Mike Tag was never mind. Take all that back. Delete that. Cut that part
out. Before we move to halftime and let you run through mock draft, which this is going to be fun. I know you're a pro at it. We're going to see how this works out. I know everybody's done 1 million of them up to now, and there's 1 million more to do until the next 13 days.
Yeah.
But I'll give Mike Tag one thing: Keontae Scott, because I would take him. But let's go to halftime. So listen, guys, remember, if you're enjoying the guest, which I don't know how you're not, hit the like, hit the subscribe, join the channel, turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of the future guests. We've had Tyrone Crawford, Jane Slater, Marshawn Neal, and of course the great Jay Tuck, who's with us right here, right now. So many great guests and a good show I believe we've put together on Friday nights. We've got 2-a-days with Jimmy J throughout the week randomly. We've got AM Mayhem. Sometimes me and Coach get on in here in the mornings when we're ready to curse these Cowboys and take phone calls. We've got Friday, or not Friday, but 4th and late at the 8 on weekend nights, especially after games. That's going to be really fun. And so, stay tuned in, stay on to what we're doing, and always we're Team Give Back, and we'll teach you how to fan responsibly around here because that's what we do. And so with that being said, Tuck, this draft, can you mock one for us real quick?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Let's
I
do
tell
it.
people, mock drafts is kind of like flashcards, and so I do so many.
No doubt.
Yeah. Hey, so whether I don't know if you can see the screen here, but you may not even need to. But is this okay visually for you?
I can make it bigger if need be.
I can still cook, man.
Yeah. Make it bigger.
So
okay.
Trades or no trades? Yeah,
pre-draft trades.
Now we have been doing a fun trade situation where we trade 12 and 20 with the Chiefs for 9, and I believe they have 36 or something like that.
You want to see that?
Fair, actually.
So
12 and 20 for 9 and 40 they have.
What's their second round?
40.
40?
Mm-hmm.
No,
they have
something before 40, huh?
Yeah, something before 40, right?
29 and 40.
29. So 29. Yeah,
29. Okay.
We swap it out.
3 spots for 9 spots.
And then we also add in another one, like 140 or something like
152
that.
152
from us or from them?
From them.
148 then from them.
148.
Okay. All right. So let's offer that trade. They'll take that.
Deal done.
Yeah.
All right.
And there you sit at 9.
Caleb Downs.
And he's there.
That's what I'm talking. Well, I bet he is at 9. No doubt. No doubt.
I don't know about that.
Let him be there at 12. Ooh. 29.
All right. So 29.
You got Max, Denzel Boston. Looks like you got Peter Woods and Caleb Banks, Colton Hood. So on.
He's gonna. Well, I'm not gonna say what he's gonna do, but
I'm gonna go with the Akeem Messidor.
He's gonna go with the Akeem Messidor. I thought we might be jumping for a linebacker. Oh, he's got. Let's see what happens here. 92. Yeah, that's correct.
So now, if you can take a look at corners.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go to corners, which are at the bar right there in the middle.
All right.
Muhammad's still on the board.
Yeah, Malik Muhammad. I'm going with Malik Muhammad, who the Cowboys I feel like is very high on.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like he's a good possibility to grab at 92 if he's there.
112.
All right. So now we're cooking. All right. So now here's the difficult part about what I did, right? We're pretty much sniped at linebacker because it falls off a cliff. Go to linebacker and see who's available.
Right, because you may just pull a reach here, but because it's so much of a need at this point.
Right.
Linebacker right there. Deontay Lawson.
Oh, they left you Lawson. That's not horrible.
So you have Deontay Lawson, who Deontay Lawson was one of the best, linebackers in the SEC. It's just medical red flags, but at this point, it could be consideration. Bryce Boucher, who played for Oregon, baseball coverage guy. Probably not what you're looking for. Caleb Elam's he is a 30-day visit, extremely athletic. He blew the combine away. This is where I'm talking to Jerry and like, bro, you just call Mike McCarthy and apologize and go get Patrick Queen. Like just,
just do something.
Sorry, right?
And bring in Bobby Wagner.
Right.
Well,
Stop being petty.
this may not be enough of a pick, but if you were still at 92, me and Jimmy have been talking about something like Jordan Brooks. Is that possible for 92, or is he worth more than that?
I would think that should get the trick done.
Ooh.
Really?
So I would go back to all. This is
Okay.
just me being me. So I would consider going with the defensive tackle, Dante Corleone right there.
Let's go DT. Oh, he's there. He's here. Hang on.
Right,
I'll just right there.
Right. So get some more interior. You got Xavier Harris out of Ole Miss, but that's off the field issue, so I don't want to touch that. So now
48
linebackers probably got sniped. But now I'm looking at that running back blinking light right there because our running back 2 and Jaden Blues skipping dinner with Brian Schottenheimer. So we got 148 and 152, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that what we have?
Yes,
Go
sir.
look at linebacker. Let me go get my linebacker now. Speak now.
Before it's totally gone?
Yeah, before it's totally gone.
Let's see it here. Still Elam's
Caleb.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Caleb Elam-Orr
at that point. 152.
All right, 152. Now I'm going back to running back.
Mm-hmm.
They left you Moss. They took.
Now I'm doing Katron Allen.
I'm fine. I love it.
Compare him with Javonte Williams. And then let's see here. Okay, so what pick are you? 177?
177.
Okay, so scroll down slightly. You do have Emil Wagner. Emil Wagner is extremely athletic tackle, play on the right side. He's a leader for Notre Dame. Doesn't have a lot of penalties, so that could be a projected guy with some
traits. They produce those type of linemen,
yeah. Primarily play on the right side, but he can possibly be your swing. I probably wouldn't do him at this point. Look at safety for me. Let me see what's there available.
I tell you what, and Cole, Tuck, you can correct me on this. I think Cole, if we take him anywhere between 177 and our last pick, if he's down there, I think it could be a steal, possibly the steal of the draft. I think the guy played like 840 something snaps at Texas Tech.
Yeah, so I'm trying to gamble and see if I can come. Because that's what's the next picks? 177 and 180.
Oh, you got 180. Yeah, you'll get him.
Yeah.
180. Okay, so I can hold off on Cole. Go back to linebacker for me. I'm gonna see if I can double dip here. Got Trey Moore, Red Murdoch. So Red Murdoch out of Buffalo, extremely productive. Is probably a guy that can do a work in progress. But man, he's good as all get out, right? But then you also have another guy sitting there below who's kind of, I don't understand it, and Harold Perkins Jr. He was a guy who I felt like was improperly loose at his time at LSU, but going into last year's draft, he was probably the top 2 to 3 linebackers in all rankings. Going in college football, he was actually ranked the highest outside linebacker. So I would consider Harold Perkins, but
missed tackle rate is what I've been on with him.
Yeah, missed tackle rate. Like I said, they borderline play him as a safety. Now, if you want a kind of a brute force linebacker that has some size, kind of has some LV-ish traits, Jack Kelly out of BYU has those traits as well.
Yeah, he's a thick guy.
That's really good size. You can tell by the neck. So I'm going to go with, actually go back to the safety. I'm going to go get, this is a fun one. Yeah, I'm going to go grab Cole before they snipe him.
I really like him, man. I really like that guy. I'm glad
you're still sitting right in the same area, 180.
Yeah, so now
look at your picks.
Let's see here. Yep, so I got Caleb Downs, Akeem Messador, Malik Muhammad.
Corleone, Elam's-Orr.
Yeah, so I got linebacker. Okay, so now look at tight end for me. Let's see what's still there. Let's see if I could get something. John Michael Gillenberg. They sniped my guy. So you can go with Oscar Delp. He's just another blocking tight end. I'll pass on that. I'll just go with Span Forward.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, cool. we're late.
So what would that pick may have been, just in case, so we might know?
I would probably went with another linebacker, so that would probably have been like Harold Perkins or I didn't take a Red Murdoch, right? I was going to take a Red Murdoch.
No, you didn't do that.
Okay, that's fair. We'll just know that. We'll call it that.
And then go to quarterback for me really quick.
Who is left?
I like it.
And then, so you got my guy, Jalen Daniels. Overall, he was a good player for the University of Kansas. He just made some mistakes in costly times. You have Taylor Green, who was a 30-day visit. He has some speed, some athleticism, and some arm strength. And you also have Cole Payton, who is your guy. That's going to be pretty much like your Taysom Hill. For me, I would take a guy like Taylor Green right here for upside potential and for gadget plays. Let him run those RPOs. Let him do some of that tush push and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Keep my quarterback clean because
you just made the offseason real fun to watch now because we get to get a new quarterback to look at. I love it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah.
Here's PFF's awful analysis. You drafted Caleb Downs and should have drafted Carnell Tate. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's wrong.
And let's see. Hey, bottom 28% of drafts. That means it's great in reality.
In reality, right? There's so many Cowboys drafts.
There it is. Caleb Downs at 9. We to start off with, most importantly, a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs. Both picks, 12 and 20, for 929 and 148. We'll probably try that again tonight and see what we can get. And let's see what you added by. Let's see. You still drafted twice in the first round, and you basically added 148. But you went up and got Caleb Downs, got Akeem Messidor at 29, where maybe we would have spent 20 on him. And
he goes to you there.
Added Elam Zor as that, and that's your first linebacker. You needed it, otherwise you'd been out of linebackers. Love it.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. I like. Listen, Murdoch and Cole Wisniewski, which were both in the draft, right? Where'd he go?
I'm on the 3 cam.
Yeah, you have to put it right because Sam was having some family time and some family stuff. She had to go, but
okay.
But yeah, that's Red Murdoch and Cole are my two possible steals of the draft, and I know Red Murdoch could possibly be just like a special teams guy, for the first year with your team. But listen, as far as just a guy who has fun playing football, loves it, and is going to give you every single, when you're talking about 110%, he's going to give you every ounce of sweat he's got, whether it's good or not. You know what I mean? He's going to try hard doing bad. That's Red Murdoch. I like it. And then I think Cole Wisniewski is could potentially on how far he falls could be the steal of the draft. They were a good defense. He had like 800.
They were a very good defense.
A lot of football, y'all. So I like a guy who just came off of playing a lot of football, which is why I'm a little skeptical on Jermon McCoy. I know the tape speaks for itself, but you just played a lot of football and you played sound. Cole doesn't have, like you said, I want that guy who's going to come in and have momentum changes. He may not be that, but he ain't going to give you very many mistakes.
Jermon McCoy was almost a pick for instead of Emmanuel McNeil-Warren to hear J Tuck break down because, gosh, at least the tape for me looks like a dude. He's dogging these receivers like they don't have a chance. Like if he looks like his
2024, man,
his technical, like his mentality, he seems like he's 2 steps. What you going that way? No, you're going to the boundary where I want you to go. Like, hey man.
Yeah. So is he that if teams love the medicals, is he jumping above Mansour and like possibly going?
If he is, let's say he's 100% healthy, right? He's far better than Mansour Lane. It's no slight to Mansour Lane. I think he had a great year, but Mansour Lane versus the Virginia Tech version last year versus DBU, LSU,
right?
Slightly different, but I'm still not fully sold that he's locked down. I really don't think that he was just tested a lot. But Jermon McCoy would be one of those guys that you can confidently say can take away a whole side of the field if he is who he was prior to injury.
Right.
But the Cowboys, I understand why there's a lot of hesitancy. Our corner room is already not healthy as is, but phenomenal player if he is prior to the injury.
So is he best corner on our team if we take him? Like if let's say the ifs check out, he is.
Oh yeah, by far.
Wow. Even if Savone progresses and becomes kind of what we expect him to be, really. Okay, because then I like the sound of that. Because if you tell me that,
if you get Jermon McCoy, you're probably not even going to talk about Siobhan Rebel anymore. Like,
man, ESPN put out the comparison. ESPN put out the comparison, and I saw Stephon Gilmore, and I was like, "Ooh, that's the type of thing I was thinking with the technical. I'm just ahead of you, even if I'm not as athletic." And he might be that too. So,
yeah, he's good.
All right, coach. Coach.
Yeah, man. Listen, Tuck, I obviously appreciate you coming in here, giving us your time. I know we got started a little late, so we ran a little over the 8:00 mark. Guys in chat, if you've been watching the show and you haven't already, go follow the guy on all socials at JTuck151. I got that right? I should know. I
On
type
Twitter.
it in enough to make sure what's going on. And yeah, catch him on all your socials. And listen, Tuck, before we get you up out of here, and we'll close out the show and do our little 2-minute spill on what we've got to do to wrap things up. I've got a two-parter for you. So for one, I just want you to name me your, because like I said, Cole and Red are my guys. Who's your still of the draft first off?
Ooh, still is a good question. I'm gonna go with the guy that I really like, and I made a video on this where I feel like if I was a scout and Christian Parker says, "Okay, Tuck, who's the guy that we need to fit what I'm trying to do?" It would be Gabe Akis, defensive end / linebacker at the University of Illinois. I mean, he's a monster, man. I mean, he's damn near 260, 275. Can probably run like a 4.5, 4.6 speed. Had over double-digit sacks, but can set the edge, also slide inside, play 4-eye or 3-tech technique if you need him. So he's just one of those guys that's just been the anchor. I watched him when Kansas played versus Illinois 2 years ago, and that was one of the guys I circled. That's what I do, man. I was sitting there with my media guide, and I sit back and watch a game and just put a star. I see Cooper Beebe back there. Like, put a star. Just put some stars, write little names, and I'll go back to my notes. But he's a guy that I've been watching for quite some time. So Gabe Akis, defensive end / linebacker, 3-4, perfect fit, can stand up, but also put his in the dirt. That would be one of my guys. And then another guy who I really liked. I was on him extremely early, way back before even Thanksgiving. I was texting everyone like, "Yo, watch this kid out of Pitt, Kyle Lewis, linebacker."
Yeah, I remember you being on it. That's why I've been a little bit high on him. Yep.
He's had a phenomenal draft journey. I mean, I'm proud of him. Everything he's done from the Senior Bowl led up, so he's skyrocketed. So love Kyle Lewis. Those probably be my two guys that I really love. Outside of the cores, Caleb Downs and Anthony Hill Jr. And another guy offensively who I feel like I'll tell people right now, you better hope the medicals don't check out, because if he does, Jordan Tyson will be the scariest player in this draft.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Well, and then the second question was going to be, and we usually let Sam ask it, but she had to take care of some things. Did you enjoy your time on the show?
Absolutely, always, man. It's always a pleasure, man, with my guys and the girl, Sammy. So you guys are family. So it's just, you probably could have went another 2 hours.
For sure. No, we could do it.
It's funny.
We probably will after the show.
This is like my 5th show today.
I seen you on X earlier.
Love it.
Yeah, I was doing on X. I did a space out to my guy Nix. I did 2 shows a second ago. Did my show. So draft season is my season. Like I said, it's nothing I don't do just before the content. I really love it. It's one of those things. When me and my wife went on vacation, she was like, "You got to leave the laptop," because she knows I'll be peeking watching. Also, like I said, it's a huge blessing. To be around some of these kids, and some of these kids, I kind of help use my platform to give exposure. So I had a kid from the University of Kansas. His name was Tommy Dunn Jr. Came on my show, did an interview. And then a few days later, he's like, "Yo, Tuck." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "I got it." I'm like, "You got what?" He's like, "I'm a Dallas Day visit." So he's a Dallas Day visit.
Nice.
So, he's a Dallas Day visit, and he's also a Kansas City Chiefs visit as well. So, so we got some competition, but, it's kind of cool to see it all unfold.
Absolutely.
And how happy kids are, being at the draft. I remember Jalen Carter. I know he feels like a monster to us now, but see him come off the stage and just hug me and start crying. He doesn't even know me, but the emotion that comes out, these guys finally to see their dreams come true is special, man. So I enjoy it.
It's the best. I can't wait.
That's
Hopefully we got some of it right.
Yeah.
No, I will listen. If it's J Tuck saying that these are the guys, then I promise you at least that part is right. I don't know if we'll get it right as
what,
Coach? Organization, but
all we need is a soundbite if we can get it.
Tuck, just so one time in your own J Tuck way, give us a you're watching or you're listening to or you're attending to, however you want to drop it, the star we are, if you could, sir.
All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy J Tuck, and you are tuned into the TheStarWeAre podcast. Definitely give them a follow because they know their stuff and they love Dallas Cowboys football.
Look at that. Boy, that's as professional as it gets. It made it look easy. Made it look easy. Listen, if PFF owes you money, because everybody you've ever said has moved up the board.
PFF owes me money. No, but one side bit. PFF owes me money because they ain't updated How is Quentin Williams not on our football team? George Pickens isn't on our football team. We don't have pick 180. That is outrageous.
Right. I tell people,
right.
man, PFF have these layoffs. Like, man, I've done enough mocks to keep a few people employed.
That's cool. Yeah. No, well, listen, man, keep enjoying your dream. Keep blessing. Talking about blessings, you bless us with your time. We know it's invaluable, man. You got a lovely family. You got everything you do is really important, and the info you share and the time you give is invaluable to Cowboys Nation. Again, we appreciate it, Jay Tuck. You have a blessed evening, brother. We're gonna let you get up out of here.
All right, y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you so much, brother. Yo.
All right. Well, that's about as good as it gets right there.
We run some updates.
Super good stuff. Yeah, Sammy had to go, had some family stuff to take care of. Tuck calling a little audible there at the beginning of the show. We were having some kind of difficulties, and he said, let me just rearrange my setup. Maybe this will work.
Omaha.
Oh, right. That's right. He called the 42 blue check, and he did it. Down said hut. And so listen, guys, updates, guest. We're always having them. We just got word from a player a couple days ago. I'm not going to say who because we like to wait for confirmations, but it's a draft prospect. A draft prospect is potentially coming on the show, possibly another, right? But we did get reached out to by one of the draft prospects in this draft. He's a great player. He's really high on my board. He plays at Texas Tech. I'll just give you those little pieces. So be on the lookout, turn on the notifications, like, subscribe. We'll be having him on soon before the draft. He said he'd love to come on the show, so we'll see when we can get him on. And then hopefully the Cowboys take him because he's a good one. Also, like I said, 4th and Late at the 8, all our Friday shows, AM Mayhem some weekdays, 2-a-days with Jimmy J on some days, just whenever there's a couple topics that I want to rant about. And then, of course, 4th and Late at the 8 on weekdays as well. All the shows we do, everything we do, you can be a member, you can do super chat, thanks, join, subscribe, all the right things, and we hope you're doing it. We appreciate your time. Coach,
okay.
2 minutes spiel was
yeah,
it's on me, right?
It is. It's gonna be hard to pack in. Do what you can.
2 minutes starting now.
That's true. I was going to say something, and then you already put me on the clock, but that's okay. I'll get this done. Okay, so we had some technical difficulties at first, but we got through the intro. We kicked this thing off. We gave you the game plan, told you about the show we were going to have, which consisted of Samantha's news, where she told us Fernando Mendoza is going to stay at home, sweet home, during the draft night, which the NFL hated. They would love to see him, as you said, Coach, hug Roger Goodell when they say his name, with the first pick of the 2026 NFL draft. We're not spinning a record right now, but
go ahead.
But that's okay. I've got extra time. Woo!
No, you don't have extra time.
Oh, okay. Well,
keep going. I'll fix you.
No, Tuck came on. We talked a little offense. He says we have to sign George. Got to get that done, or move off of him. But you got to do it fast. No drama. I agree with that. He said we do have tackle issues, so we can't just avoid it when looking at this draft and the rest of this offseason. I agree with that. And then he he graded our pets. He graded Sam's Bryce
Young,
Lance. Bryce Lance, right? Yeah, Trey Lance's brother. Yeah, Bryce Lance. Yeah, and then he graded Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety, for coach, and then he graded out of Georgia linebacker C.J. Allen for me, and they all got pretty solid grades. And I think he graded them accurate. That's just what Tuck does. And then he gave us a mock, which was really good, really interesting. A trade I hadn't even considered with the Chiefs, right? Which was a good one. And he grabbed some players and then told us that his steal of this draft is probably Gabe Yakas, out of Iowa. That's a name that I haven't even put on any of my teams yet in any mock draft. And so when you talk about steal of the draft, it's because other people like me are seeing him and not picking him. And Jay Tuck says, well, you missed. And so I believe it. I know I probably ran over my time, but thanks to it being a crazy, freaky, fun Friday, I was able to still make it. I think we did everything.
Yeah. George Pickens. Jay Tuck thinks we're going to sign him, or says sign him. That's the course move, which is different than what we've been talking about.
Then do it. Listen,
that's fine.
I'm going to tell you, I really believe he has a spot scouting for a team, and not only scouting for a team. I think he sees rosters and pieces and things, like I think he sees it really well, man. And not just to pump him up because we just had him as a guest, and like he said, the guy's family. We love him to death. We've followed him for years before we ever even started the Star We Are, so he's been one of those guys for us.
I hope they're listening.
To have him on our show is a is kind of full circle for us, which is super cool. But he sees pieces, he sees teams, he sees rosters, he understands fitting, he understands personalities. I think he's actually next level. I think the NFL owes him a lot more money than he probably makes, and I don't even know how much he makes, but I'm sure he deserves more of it because he's good at this stuff. But hope you guys enjoyed that show, man. Coach.
Yeah, let's do it again next week.
Okay, that's
hopefully with the draft pick that you were talking about.
Yeah, we will. That's the date we're going to try to have him on, but we will have somebody on soon enough. And who we will have on, one more last little quick update, the Cowboys Cave. So not this coming up week or the Friday show, but the following week after that, the week of the draft, before the draft starts, we'll be doing a little collab show with the Cowboys Cave.
Beautiful.
With Mike Tagg and them boys. So let's get that rolling. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us.
Always.
We ask that you enjoy your Friday night. Be safe on your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend. Spend it with the right folks and not the wrong ones. But most importantly, always, always, always.